Hello my friends, in this video I will be discussing about the latest hardcore PvP server update that launched in Black Desert Online. I will be sharing my thoughts on how it's been so far and will be giving my own 2 cents on how developers could make the server better. I've been having a lot of fun messing around on my Zerker, however, I feel like there are multiple flaws with this server that are super game breaking and just lead to a lot of players losing interest in playing it. Let's get into it. Alright, my first point is that the rewards could be slightly improved. If you've played the game long enough, then you'll know that Pluribus has always had a lack of interest in rewarding the player base for engaging in PvP. It's gotten a lot better in the past year or two in terms of being rewarded for doing Node Wars, Siege, Arena of Solar, but I feel like we could crank up the loot a tiny bit more. Specifically, the PvP incentive is very limited right now on the server because instead of fighting players, you can do the starter daily quest, kill 150 ancient mobs, and claim 900 million worth of gold bars in under 10 minutes. By doing this, you do get quick money but end up not contributing more to the server's main goal, which should be PvP. Top ranked end of season rewards are also super lacking, so there's less interest in pushing for it. On top of that, there are a bunch of limitations within the currency tab where you can only buy certain items once or up to 5 times, with the only repeatable rewards being an RNG gold bar box or gold bars. I think we should let players that have an interest in playing the server choose what they use their currency on as much as they want, with the exception of maybe weapon exchange coupons and high value fail stacks being limited. Next up, the problem of having only 4 classes as a choice is straight up awful. This first iteration of the hardcore servers is simply overrun with Zerkers and Warriors 90% of the time. Whilst I do get absolutely destroyed by Rangers that play on the server too, the experience just gets super boring over time when you see the same classes. I feel like we could try doubling the class choice to 8 and eventually all classes. PvP is already very niche in BDO due to the changes that happened to the open world over the past year, and by not allowing players to play their main class, it just creates an even bigger lack of interest for the community. I've seen countless negative opinions stating that they are not even trying out the server and will wait until their main class will be selectable. Now onto a huge issue. While grinding mobs, you have a chance of dropping RNG buffs. These range from more attack speed to more damage reduction to more attack power. Sounds fine until you start PvPing against a player that has one of these buffs and you die in 2 spells. The attack power buff can grant you up to 300 extra AP for a whole 5 minutes. This is absolutely bonkers to have in a PvP server, and I have been ganked randomly by players that specifically only fight after they drop such a buff. So please either remove these buffs completely or nerf them considerably to a maximum of plus 25 AP or DP perhaps. RNG buffs for PvE are fine, and you should keep the drop rate buffs of course, but fighting players that have such a massive buff activated is just not right. Mana problems. In the current game mode, there is no way to recover mana through potting and you're forced into hitting mobs to recover it. This has created many situations where I'm fighting a player and need to run away to hit mobs just to get back into the fight, and it's awkward. I'm also pretty sure that other classes like Sork are also not having a fun time because of this. Limited stamina and 0 attack speed is a bit rough. Overall, it's been kinda fine for me on Zerker with no attack speed, and luckily the mobility on this class is still broken, but Sork for example really struggles to combo from what I've seen. This is just a small critique and I'm not providing an answer to how to improve this, other than maybe being able to get an extra 1 or 2 attack speed points from gearing up. 2-hour playtime restriction. Why? There are many players, including myself, that are interested in playing this server for longer than 2 hours per day, but we aren't able to, so my question is simply why? Being forced into playing an alt account to have more fun in the game just doesn't make sense to me, and I would love for the developers to try out making the server 4 hours per day, and perhaps a season of no time limit in the future. Safe zone abuse is absolutely crazy. This is another big one I feel like. I've seen loads of people just straight up safe zone hugging, going in and out with 0 restrictions, trying to pick players off and then run away. I feel like there should be a time limit restriction put in place to avoid this from happening. Perhaps if a player is flagged and engaged in a battle with another player, they simply shouldn't be allowed safe zone entry until unflagged, or if you leave a safe zone, there's a time limit for re-entry. To add on to this, I think there might be too many safe zones around the world also. Jail system was scrapped. This honestly really sucked to hear because PA has done this before, where they straight up mention a new jail system would be added to the Ulukita region and then they never implemented it. Now it's happened to the hardcore server, and I just think that was a missed opportunity at having another cool mechanic that implements PvP on the server. Teaming is happening on this server. There's a dark fog mechanic implemented in the server where if there are a certain amount of players within a set location, they will be trapped together and forced into PvP. I haven't experienced or heard about this mechanic happening at all yet, and I've played the server a lot. I've also experienced moments of attacking the rank 1 player on the server only to end up having the rank 2 coincidentally being very close to him and getting teamed up on by them. If there isn't really a restriction to just having buddies to play the server together with and team up against others, then why shouldn't more people do this? Visible locations of top ranked players on the server is great so far, but it's a shame that I've noticed a lot of players not being interested in even attacking the high ranks. This is probably mainly due to early stages of the server really having limited reason to even attack people. You need to PvE to complete quests, and you need to PvE to get more gear, so players don't care. RNG resistance is bad, remove it please. For years I've been waiting for resistance to be removed from PvP as it has only caused complete randomness and is not skill based in any way. Yes, the developers have mentioned months ago that they want to remove resistance, and I'm still waiting for this to happen. No quests for PvP, so we have quests for PvE to kill X amount of mobs, but there isn't a single quest that is PvP based. I know that it's harder to implement rewards for PvP due to abuse, but surely there's a way to add something additional for fighting players. Perhaps you receive a bounty to kill a certain rank on the server. Now on to some additional points. Currently, if you are above 3000 survival points, you're also hit with a 20% penalty upon killing a lower point player. This opens up to getting griefed, however, this concern has already been mentioned in the latest Global Lab notes. There now won't be a penalty for defending yourself against players during world bosses, Gahaz Bandits, Pilaku, Akman, and Histra Ruins grind spots. This is a positive change. The map size of the world feels a bit too big, and I fear that it oftentimes feels like a running simulator in the desert. Hopefully, with continued updates to the server, popularity will only increase and the world won't feel as big as now. Having a means of communication with everyone through server chat also feels a bit weird on the server, but I'm not really sure if it's a positive or a negative. And finally, the server is called hardcore, but there is no permadeath, no jail system, no item drop upon death, and teaming is possible to an extent, so overall, I gotta say this is definitely not hardcore in my eyes. I understand that PA has designed the server in this way to make it more friendly for a wider audience of players, but perhaps we could get an actual real hardcore server experience in the future once the developers hopefully polish up this one. In conclusion, I think this server has loads of potential to be a fun and addicting game mode for PvP starved players like myself to play it daily. I hope this did not come across too negatively, as I honestly really want to share my feedback and improve this content for everyone. Although I still dream of going back in time to when we had guild wars and PvP happening always in the open world, I hope that PA will hear out player feedback and at least improve this content for us. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this, and please feel free to share as much feedback as you want down in the comments. Leave a like if you like. Peace.